Good day everyone, so I hope you're doing well. So in today's video we're taking a look at a bit of a special team, but before we do so, notice how my Yaimiko is being sort of downgraded to an F2P equivalent-ish level. Hopefully I've done this properly enough and I've taken away a lot of her energy recharge artifacts, and Kokomi as well. I mean, obviously my units are C6, so I had to adjust them downwards towards a level that I think is more or less, or would more or less represent the outputs that you will get as an F2P. Obviously, the constellations do make a bit of a difference here in terms of the gameplay quality and so on, but hopefully it's fine. Now, what are we doing? We're running Xinyan, Sucrose, Yaimiko, and Kokomi. Definitely a first on YouTube since I haven't seen it anywhere else being done. And how is this team going to work? How is it going to function? Well, you'll see. It's basically like a little bit of a Rockstar equivalent. Do note the 2 Yaimiko dashes instead of the 3, and let the fireworks just absolutely begin. It's just absolutely crazy. Like once the I'll try and put like a thumbnail or like a funky thumbnail up, but like if you have like a proper view of all the little fireworks taking place, it is just absolutely spectacular. It definitely does give Kokomi a bit of a run for their money, but obviously it's not as good as that team because that team's been carefully crafted, while this team is just something I just made for fun, and mostly because someone asked me, can I get a bit of Xinyan content? And I was like, yeah, we haven't done a bit of Xinyan content, so why not do it? She's a character that gives you this, if you've got a Constellation 6 and all of that, she gives you this barrier that blazes and spews AoE pyro. So, and obviously if you give her a sacrificial, I think, greatsword, you can pretty much get a very nice uptime in terms of her elemental burst, and obviously this barrier just consistently blazing, and that is effectively what triggers all the reactions. The only thing that is very difficult with this team is energy recharge, so you've got to manage your substats and your builds like very carefully, but if you can make it work, it can be very, very smooth. It's not as smooth because my Kokomi is lacking the energy recharge, so she's quite a bit less than I normally would like her to run. So if you guys have like a Yaimiko, Kokomi, and Xinyan and Sucrose sitting around, let me know how this team works. You can more or less follow the guide that I'm sort of doing. I'm not saying this is the most optimal rotation, it's just the one that I think makes the most sense for overlapping the cooldowns, but I could be wrong. Again, this is just an experimental fun run. It's not supposed to be serious. It's just there to sort of show you how you can mess around with Genshin Impact. And for me, this is the core of Genshin Impact, messing around with reactions. It's just this is what makes Genshin Impact so good. Genshin Impact for me is not a game where you just stack all your buffs on one character and they then take out the enemy in one big swipe. The game is all about triggering, getting all these fancy numbers just popping up. It's just like making this kaleidoscope of just, flashy numbers. That is, like, for me, is like the essence of the game. Some people might disagree, but I think this is what makes things quite fun. And you can see here we're going to get lots of, hopefully, lots of sort of flashy numbers right there. You can just see there they're just doing all sorts of things. I don't even know what is triggering or who is triggering what. All I know is that everything is triggering except for superconduct. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Obviously, this team is, if you do decide to run this, I think it will be competitive enough to the point where on this particular Spiral Abyss, you can definitely have enough time left for the second halves, and then your main and your meta team can then sort of go on that half and clear the more difficult content. Obviously, the first halves on this patch is pretty easy compared to the previous Spiral Abyss floors, so it would have been interesting to see how this team would have performed against PMA and like the Bishop and so on. The run you've seen right now here at the end, this is just where Yaimiko and Kokomi are normalized again to their C6 R5 level, and honestly, given the nature of reactions, you don't really see that much of a big difference. It's mostly because this team is reaction driven, that the extra damage that Yaimiko and Kokomi are doing it definitely contributes to giving you a lower overall clearing time, but in general it's not going to make in terms of the fundamentals of how this team works, you don't really need C6 characters whatsoever. You can very much or very easily get by with F2P characters, provided you are very strict on the builds. But yeah, guys, that's it. That's what I wanted to show. Hopefully you've enjoyed this little bit of a fun detour, something new, something different. And yeah, have a great day. Cheers.